Stakes here along with Tom Kessenich and Matthew Davis from FTNFantasy.com. Now, if you happen to be at American Family Field in Milwaukee last Monday, you saw the three of us drinking beer, cooking up brats, eating brats with sauerkraut and mustard. Right, Maddie? How much fun was that last week?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I had a couple brats. One wasn't good enough. I had to have two. They were delicious, and I was quite surprised that you guys were unaware that doing the tailgating and drinking and having alcohol in the parking lot is just completely not allowed at Dodger Stadium. So that was a real treat to me.
Never heard of anything like that. We were there with John Fish as well and Dean Peterson, who used to work with us at Stats, ran the Chicago NFBC events. We had a great time. Tom, we didn't drink too much, did we? We had fun.
No, I think we were pretty responsible, all things considered. But yeah, we had a great time watching the Brewers. The Brewers unfortunately didn't cooperate. We probably picked the worst game for the Brewers of that series. But we did have a good time hanging out with Maddie and John Fish and Dean. But a good time, and yeah, I think we were pretty responsible adults. I'm pretty proud of ourselves.
Maddie picked out the tickets, and we were sitting in Dodgers section. I couldn't believe how much blue was there. Holy cow. I don't know if they travel or they all moved to the Midwest like you, but that was a lot of Dodger fans there.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good for the economy of the team and whatnot. But I guess you could start putting the Dodgers in that bucket of the Cowboys and Steelers and some of those, bigger, even the Packers, those teams that just you're going to have them travel or they're there now in every city and state. So, it's a good and bad.
It was great. It was fantastic. We had a lot of fun. Maddie, we're going to do this every year, we've decided, okay? We'll get more NFBC, NFFC guys. Wouldn't that be a lot of fun to do that in August? All right, what we have tonight is a live stream of the Rotowire Online Championship, $250,000 grand prize. Maddie's in this one. Matt, I didn't even look. What team are you?
I'm pick number 2. So you guys have been giving me a lot of good fortune this year. Yeah, so I have a few Cooper Cup OC teams. This is my first Christian McCaffrey team. I've got a 1 or 2 Jonathan Taylor teams. So in this one with the second pick, that was I'm pretty set on my KDS, and that's going picks 1 through 4 and then flipping it 12 through 5. And with pick 1 or 2, I would prefer Christian McCaffrey. And if McCaffrey wasn't there, I was actually going to differentiate and go Justin Jefferson.
Well, Tom, we've had 2 prime times. There's one going on right now. Who's been going number 1 in our prime time so far?
Well, in the first 2, it has been McCaffrey, so we are seeing a bit of a change. But in the one tonight, it was Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
McCaffrey fell all the way to 4th in the one tonight. So, but yeah, we are seeing a lot of Christian McCaffrey going number 1 overall. I was wondering if we're going to start seeing that more and more often, and we are. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is back to being a top pick and the top pick in fantasy football right now. Certainly not in this one. It was Jonathan Taylor again. But yeah, I think we're going to see more and more of that. I think Christian McCaffrey at the top of drafts, I think we're just going to start seeing it. People are feeling Christian McCaffrey again.
Maddie, did you go 1 through 12 or how'd you set your KDS?
Yeah, the 1 through 4 and then 12 through 5. I'm pretty adamant on that. Moving forward, I think I'll just keep running it at this point. Once I get to this point in the year, similar to baseball, I get to a few weeks out or maybe even 2 weeks out from like the NFBC main event leagues or the live drafts in Las Vegas. I'll get pretty set on my KDS and just start to kind of work from there. So that's where I'm at, is picks 1 through 4 and then 12 through 5.
Interesting right here, Tom. 5 out of the first 8 picks were wide receivers. Diggs moves up to 6. Devontae Adams at 8. Kind of unique. I don't know if we've seen 5 out of the first 8 being wide receivers, have we?
It's happening a little more often. And the guy who's really moving up and locking into the top half right now is Jamar Chase. Now in this one, he went wide receiver 3. In the prime times, he's becoming wide receiver 2 more often. I think he's actually jumped Cooper Kupp a little bit. So I think we're going to have to keep an eye on Jamar Chase, because after Justin Jefferson, who I think is locking himself in now as wide receiver 1, Jamar Chase is becoming a top 5 pick, pretty much locked in right now. I think our guys have pretty much established that Jamar Chase is going to be a guy they're not letting fall past pick 5 right now.
Yeah, look at the back end of the draft here, though, at the running backs.
Yep.
Barkley goes at 11. It was interesting. In the first 2 prime times, he went 7th and then 16th. So he went 16th. 4 guys passed on him twice. I don't know if you saw it tonight, Tom, where he went, but I think Barkley's a guy to keep an eye on for sure because he's going to go in the first round in the prime times, I think.
He did go in the first round of the one tonight, yeah. So, yeah, I'd be surprised if he fell out of the first round in too many more drafts going forward. It would really surprise me.
Yeah. All right. So Barkley, Swift's been falling out of the first round, isn't he? He's no longer a guaranteed top 12 guy.
And I don't know why. Maybe Maddie's got some thoughts on this one. I don't know what's changed for DeAndre Swift. I mean, I don't know why. I understand Barkley moving up's got to push somebody down, but I don't know why it's DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Saquon Barkley is certainly the running back that's pushing DeAndre Swift down one, but then you're also seeing CeeDee Lamb climb up a little bit, and then teams are getting a little more eager for Devontae Adams and Stephon Diggs as well. So you're also seeing that in the prime time, which is a little different than the OC. Devontae Adams is getting drafted a little bit earlier, as well as Saquon Barkley with an average pick of 11.
Team 8 with the Adams-Jones combination there, Tom. I don't know if he's a Packer fan, or if you are a Packer fan, you probably wouldn't draft Adams. He ditched us, for crying out loud. Kamara goes to Team 7, Eckler and Kamara. Your thoughts on Kamara going, what do we got here, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18th?
Teaming him with Austin Eckler, that's a lot of receptions in PPR. I love the start. It's a great start to me.
Yeah, again, in the prime time, those first two, he went 20 and 21. So we thought Kamara might move up. In the last week, he had been in the online championships, but I guess too many guys ahead of him. But 20 and 21 in the prime time, he goes 18 right here. So 4 teams already starting out running back. We got one team now with Chase Debo as a start. So I always love to look at these combinations before we go to third round reversal. Remember, online championship and prime time start out 1 through 12, then 12 to 1. And then round 3, we go 12 to 1 again. It balances out all of the draft picks. So we'll see how that one goes. So these guys at team 4 and 5 doubled up on wide receivers. So a lot of doubling up tonight, which we don't always see. We did the show last Wednesday, Tom, and there were very few teams that actually doubled up on positions. There was a lot of running back wide receiver combinations.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 rounds are just, there's so many good players. You can just start out any number of ways. So it's that's what makes it so much fun this year. There's so many combinations you can start off with, and obviously you throw Kelsey in there as well, who's essentially a number 1 wide receiver.
So Tyreek Hill has been going like 22, 23 in about every draft I'm watching here, Maddie. Was that the hookup that you wanted to go with McCaffrey there?
Yeah, it was actually. I don't have any exposure to him yet, and it seems like I want to say in at least 75% or 80% of my OCs, I have Leonard Fournette in the second round. So I was happy to see Fournette go right before me, because starting off with Christian McCaffrey instead of Justin Jefferson, it made me much more comfortable going with Tyreek Hill. So if I would have went with Justin Jefferson, I would have really heavily been targeting Leonard Fournette there, but I don't feel too insecure with the running back position starting off with McCaffrey. So very excited to get a piece of Tyreek Hill.
Well, let's talk about this, because we do say that the team that gets like Taylor or McCaffrey, they really can go after wide receivers at that, right? I mean, if McCaffrey stays healthy, he's a 22, 23 point a game guy. So you really can go after wide receivers and pick up an RB2 later at your discretion, if you will, right?
Yeah. In baseball, we call it the yellow brick road for pitching, and we'll call it that for the wide receiver position as well. And I'm going to paint that now that I've got my McCaffrey, my start there. So yeah, it's going to be some wide receivers for me. I don't have to hide that.
Okay, so Taylor,
I do want to ask you though, Maddie, and since he's off the board now, I can kind of ask you: did you give any thought to Etienne there at the end? Because he is kind of the running back I would have considered, even though I do love the approach of stacking wide receivers after McCaffrey. Etienne's probably the running back I would have considered there. Did you give any thought to him?
Yeah, I've been okay and comfortable. I think when Nelson and I did the stream with you guys, I think that draft I was ready to pop Etienne in this same exact spot or somewhere similar, and I'm okay with that. But being that I do have McCaffrey, I kind of want to take some of these wide receivers who I know just a little bit more of, right? There's still a little question marks around the whole situation there, potentially. And then just with the whole ceiling as a total with guys like, not even just Tyreek Hill, but you've seen AJ Brown starting to rise a little bit as well. So I'd like to get a handful of wide receivers.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go there too. I was on the Rotowire show this morning, and I was talking about Etienne. I don't know if you saw the highlights of him in that second preseason game. There was like no blocking, but the guy was just elusive and bouncing off guys. I mean, there were like 1 yard runs that were pretty impressive. I thought he looked really good. And his
He's
stock
Barry
went up in
Sanders,
my
right?
value. I mean, he just, there was no blocking going on though, but the guy was just quick to the hole or trying to get away. I thought he looked good for a guy. I don't know how many yards he ended up with, but it wasn't much. But I thought he looked pretty good. So we'll see. Interesting with Josh Allen going in the third round here, Tom. I was talking about the quarterbacks in those first primetime drafts. People were really holding off on that.
Yeah.
Allen went 30th, and then he went 46th in the primetime. And then Herbert and Mahomes went in the 5th and 6th rounds. So they're waiting on QBs in the primetime, aren't they?
So far, and that's certainly the trend we've been seeing in the online championship. It was interesting. We wanted to see if it would happen in the prime time, and it looks like it's going to happen. Certainly, we got to see more prime times to see if the trend holds. But I do think it's going to hold because there's just so much depth at quarterback, and I think guys are just going to want to hit on these other positions and lay off and get those quarterbacks a little bit later. I mean, as great as Josh Allen obviously is, and Herbert, Mahomes too. You can get really good quarterbacks, in round 6 and 7 and come away feeling really good at the position.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, NFFC is 6 points per passing touchdown. That kind of elevates the quarterbacks, but not really because they all score this pretty much the same amount of touchdowns. Like you say, Josh Allen is the outlier right now because he can run some in. He probably will run a lot in this year. And but I think Mahomes and Herbert will probably go 2 to 3 rounds later after him. I don't think any quarterback will go in the 4th round. We'll see. But I think the next quarterback goes in the 5th round and maybe even the 6th round. So we'll see. Little run on running backs here, which is interesting. One thing I was going to say was I noticed that Pittman went 24th in both of the prime times. Like he's been teaming up with the number 1 running back, whoever they've been taking, but he's almost like a locked and loaded at 24 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, our guys certainly love Michael Pittman, and we're actually going to have hopefully have a Colts beat writer on our Sirius show on Wednesday night, talk a little bit about Pittman, but he's a riser. He's certainly a guy that the fantasy industry loves. I think the Colts love him. I think the arrival of Matt Ryan could certainly pay off big for Pittman this year. And yeah, I think he's definitely a guy. He's locked in now as a top 25 pick. He is a riser in our drafts without question.
All right. Another riser is Cortland Sutton there.
Yeah. What about Ezekiel Elliott? He's a riser, right?
Yeah, 3rd round, definitely in this one. That's higher than his ADP for sure. He's been going towards the end of the 4th round. So, Tom, thoughts on Elliott?
Well, team 4 wanted a running back, and he plays the running back position. So there you go.
Okay. So in other words, start out wide receiver. There you go. You got a running back.
I like what Matty's doing so far quite a bit.
Yeah, well, him and Team 1 banging out the wide receivers here after they got that bell cow back, and that sure does help you out an awful lot.
I love the Sutton pick, Matty. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, that's my 3rd round target for sure.
Yep.
He will be Russell's guy, I think. The more I think about it, I think just the size. Russ loves to throw it up like that. Of course, he likes the deep ball. Sutton can go up and get it. I think that will be Russ's guy.
Yeah.
So I went with Sutton over Pitts. I went with Sutton over Pitts, specifically with the mindset of looking at ADP, thinking with Team 1, going with the similar build as me, running back, wide receiver. If he were to go tight end, I was hoping that he would go Mark Andrews, and I have a bunch of Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson. I was kind of playing that game theory out to see if I could get Kyle Pitts. So
I think in the 4th round, that's a good pick. Again, he does go a lot. In 34, 35 is where he has been going a lot. So you could have stayed the course and taken him there, but I think you played the game well there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if Pitts was not there, Allen Robinson was going to be my selection for the 4th round.
Keep banging those pass catchers. Again, you got your main running back.
Targets.
Good job.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, no. Hey, so I actually wanted to ask you, Greg, and I noticed you love the spotted cow, right? But you're not drinking that when we're in Las Vegas. You have Corona. Is that because of the supply and demand in Las Vegas for spotted cow?
So spotted cow is made in Wisconsin and only sold in Wisconsin. So people from Minnesota come over and buy cases of our spotted cow to take home with them. So
Wow.
I do not know why they don't sell it anywhere else, but it's only sold in Wisconsin. So
Exclusive.
yeah. Tom
We're gonna
left a
have to.
couple of MGDs with me. I already drank those up here, Tom. So thanks a lot for those.
Very
You're
nice.
welcome. Least I could do. You
We'll
drove,
have to-
so you get the beers.
We'll have to figure out how to get those spotted cows to you in March for Vegas. I'll think of something.
When in
There's
Rome, do
gotta
what
be
the
a way.
Romans do. And I love Coronas in Las Vegas, right? So it's okay.
Yeah,
all
or I
right
guess that's
drinking
your
those.
thing, huh? Yeah, it's much more. It's warmer. The sun's out versus in the Midwest. It's still
Put a little
potentially
fruit in
snowing.
there. I love
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
great. So looking forward to Vegas for sure. All right, here we go. Akers going to team 4. He has been going in the 4th round. There's Mahomes, okay, in round 4. I did not think that we'd see a quarterback in round 4. I'm actually surprised Mahomes went that high. Mahomes went ahead of Justin Herbert as well. And there we have Allen Robinson to team 8. So 36 and 8, 44. Pick 44. It seems like a good bargain for Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Brees Hall at 45. Tom, we thought he might not only stay in the 3rd round, move early in the 3rd round. Instead, he's dropping back, isn't he? In the prime times, I think he went like 45 and 48 as well. So I don't think Brees Hall is going back in the 3rd round.
No, now with Zach Wilson, not looking good for week 1. I don't think anybody's excited about the Jets right now with Joe Flacco looking like the week 1 starter, and we don't know when Wilson's coming back. So I think everybody, other than maybe, the number 1 wide receiver there, I'm not sure anybody's too excited about the Jets right now.
They're saying Joe Flacco's throwing the ball very well. Just take note of that, Tom.
There's actually been player reports too that the offense has been running smoothly, like smoother, I should say, versus how it was in camp with Wilson. And he was pretty efficient.
Players are loving him. Players are loving Joe Flacco right now.
They had some burn with him last year too, so there is a little bit of previous history there.
Chris knows a little bit about New Glarus Brewing Company. Very good. Very good. Yes. All right, we're through 4 rounds. That took all of 15 minutes to get through 4 rounds. Very interesting. Again, these take what, Tom? Like an hour and 15, no more than an hour and a half, huh?
Yeah, usually about an hour 15, hour and 20 on average. Sometimes an hour and a half, but usually about hour 15, hour and 20.
Geez, we should have to take more time than that to win 250,000, don't you think?
No, I watched one on I don't know what day it was this weekend. Took an hour and 5 minutes.
Wow, hour and 5 minutes for 20 rounds.
Whoa.
Hour and 5 minutes. They were cruising.
Maddie, have you spent the 250,000 yet or not?
Not yet, but I have started to contemplate on what we could certainly do during the winter time. I would treat the 3 of us to something really good when it's blistering cold out in January.
Yeah,
I appreciate the fact that we're involved in this 250,000. That's nice.
Absolutely, you guys are my wingmen now that I live in the Midwest and don't know too many people here.
I thought the 3 of us meant your wife, your child, and you.
I like
no, buddy. I'm talking
way up
us.
the ladder here.
Tom
right.
read it right. I read it. My bad. My bad there.
Oh.
All right. I'm rooting for you, baby. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, see, now I got an extra edge there too. See the lever?
We're not supposed to have a vested interest in this contest, but all of a sudden I do.
You may want to buy a snow plow or snow blower. How does that sound for the Midwest? You haven't been in Chicago in the winter yet.
Not yet. Well, I did visit in early February to see if I wanted to live here.
I saw those pictures. It looked like it was nice then. Yeah.
It was
all right, taking a look here.
But yeah.
Team 8 with 4 wide receivers and a running back. So interesting build right there. Team 12 with 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. We're going to be looking for hookups. We don't see anything yet. We only got the 2 quarterbacks, but keep an eye on that. Again, Matt, I ask you, do you like to stack a quarterback wide receiver? Is it something you like to do?
Yeah, it's something I do like to do, but it's not something I'm going to force to do. So I'm not going to pay above market price for a quarterback. I'm going to kind of let that happen organically throughout the draft.
Yeah, so I think team 6, as we look, Mahomes and Kelsey's the hookup right there. We wanted to make sure he got Mahomes rather than waiting until the 5th round. I think he probably could have got him, but no arguing there. He's got the hookup that he wants. And again, the last 2 years in the prime time, in the online championship, it has been the hookups. Last year was Burrow and Chase was the winning combination in weeks 15 to 17. The year before was Allen and Diggs, the big week 17 game on Monday Night Football. Led a lot of people to big paychecks. So hookups work.
The thing about forcing that hookup, though, is you knew somebody, let's just use Allen Robinson as that example. You would know he's not making it back to pick, in round middle of 5 where he got Adam Thielen. Now there's a more than 51% chance that Patrick Mahomes makes it back to him in the 5th round. Now, if he were to wait, now you have Allen Robinson and Patrick Mahomes versus Patrick Mahomes and Adam Thielen. So I think that's where you don't force the situation.
Yep. It's a good point. One team already had a quarterback behind him, so he had 5 more that had 2 picks left. So he took the chance and took Mahomes ahead of that. But I think I agree with you. I do think a quarterback would have stayed there. He might have had his choice of Mahomes or Herbert, but he wanted the hookup badly. So we'll see how that works out. Herbert, no hookup there yet with Kupp and Evans, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. All right, so Matty is up in round 5. He's got his running back, 2 wide receivers, and top tight end. He continues to go down the yellow brick road.
He goes.
Right.
He's excited about Joe Flacco.
You know what? Elijah Moore and him did have some chemistry last year as well when Flacco filled in for Wilson when he was hurt. And it seems like that is kind of spilling over this year as well. So at least for the first few weeks or couple of weeks of the season, you're going to have Flacco to Moore. I think the Jets are this game script for them. They're going to be playing from behind quite a bit more often than not. And then even when Wilson was the quarterback for Flacco or for Moore, you saw quite a bit of volume for Moore. And he's the second-year wide receiver, right? Not comparing him to Justin Jefferson, but we see some of these successful early rookie wide receivers pop right away. And then the second year is a very, very big explosion. So the potential there is pretty high, I think.
Yep. And you're sitting in a Jets chair too. So you have that going for you.
That does help. And actually, I don't have any Elijah Moore either. So that actually makes me a little bit happier to have some exposure.
There you go. All right. Not sure. Chris is vomiting over something. It might be my beer I'm drinking. I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out. What's interesting is, Tom, we used to edit John Hanson's football magazine, right? And one of his articles every year was third-year wide receivers, because that was the year when these young receivers would bust out. That isn't the case anymore. I mean, they are busting out as rookies and second-year guys. But I remember that article from John would always list a third-year wide receiver because they struggled their first 2 years. But again, it doesn't seem like that's the case anymore.
No, I think that went away. Odell Beckham's rookie year. I think that's kind of the year that put an end to that. If you remember, Beckham was hurt most of that year. Then he finally came off got healthy and just, blew the roof off the joint, whatever it was, the last 6-7 weeks of the season.
Yep.
His rookie year, he was magnificent for the Giants. But pretty much after that, rookie wide receivers and young guys have come in and set the world on fire pretty much immediately. And so now we don't think about that anymore. We don't think about the third year being the magical year. It still happens, right? But now immediate impact rookie wide receivers are much more commonplace.
OBJ was cut that year in the NFFC, if you remember. He was that hurt. He wasn't on the field. It was getting towards the end. He was being cut. So interesting. Team 1 and Team 2 take a little bit of a different direction here. Team 1 goes with Murray there, goes with his quarterback, and Matty keeps going down the yellow brick road. Takes his wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. Talk about that. He's going to miss the first 6 games of the season.
Yeah, he is. And as the season wears on and his players get a little bit thin, you're going to see a healthy and spry / motivated DeAndre Hopkins come into week 7 after his suspension. And I think that the potential for him to pop off is pretty easy to explain. And with having 3 wide receivers already and not pushing up quarterback, I felt that it was a pretty easy move, to be honest with you. You've got players coming off of injury that we don't know how they're going to start right away. Like, let's say Michael Thomas. Then you have guys, Chris Godwin's coming off the ACL injury. He's a similar example. So yeah, I think when the time comes, he's going to be plenty viable. And if he's going to be in my flex at the midway part of the season, throughout the remainder of it, I think that I'll be in a pretty good situation.
Tom, let's talk about Team 1 taking Sky Moore at 60. That's pretty lofty for this young kid, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's risky because obviously, it's a guy who may just be a gadget player for maybe the majority of the season until they get to the stretch run. And yeah, it's a risky pick, certainly, but he's got upside. I mean, he's in a good offense. He's certainly talented, but how often is he going to get on the field? And there were other players out there who are going to be playing. I mean, Maddie takes DeAndre Hopkins, Hunter Renfro's on the board, just looking at wide receivers. But I mean, AJ Dillon's on the board. There were certainly guys who are going to be there, going to have productive roles that I think would have been much more viable. I just think it was too risky to take a guy like Sky Moore. I get the upside, but it's a risky pick at that spot. I think he's going to be there, maybe even 2, 3, maybe even 4 rounds later at this point.
So we've been talking about modified running back strategy this year. And if you look at the board here, you have 5 teams that are basically going modified running back strategy. You have 1 running back by 5 different teams, 1, 2, and 3, of course. Team 8 is that way, and Team 6, all different builds. Some of these guys took the quarterbacks early, but I like the modified running back strategy when you get the 1 running back and then hit the pass catchers, combination of a tight end and the wide receivers, like Matt's doing, like what Teams 2 is doing. That just seems to be a build that we've been watching a lot. We talked to Nelson. That's what he's been doing this year as well. It seems like we're seeing more of that this year, Tom, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly if you got to have the guys stay healthy, and that's the key. But if they do stay healthy, Taylor, McCaffrey, these guys in particular, I think it's riskier with Fournette, but certainly the first 2 guys, if they stay healthy, they are going to be putting up 20+ points week in and week out, maybe even 25 to 30. That's how good these guys are. Certainly Taylor and McCaffrey. So they are basically a running back and a half. They aren't just 1 running back. They're putting up running back and a half type of numbers. So they give you such an advantage at the position when they're healthy. You don't have to be chasing that number 2 guy unless a guy falls to you. And that's why I was asking Maddie about ETN earlier, because I do think the value with a guy like that was worth considering. I understand why he passed, but you don't have to. Now you just have to find a solid number 2. And there are guys still on the board. I think Maddie's going to be able to get one depending on how the board falls to him. But yeah, just hit wide receivers, hit a value tight end like he did with Pitts, which was a great pick. I think that's how you do it if you get Taylor or McCaffrey. And again, with McCaffrey, it's all about him staying healthy. That's what it's all about with him.
So Michael Thomas goes 70. Chris Godwin goes 71. Thomas now with a hamstring injury. I mean, we're starting to see him rise for a little bit, but he seems even riskier right now with this hamstring injury. As for Godwin, we don't know when he's going to be on the field. We're not sure he's going to be in week 1. I wouldn't doubt if he misses the first 3 to 4 weeks at all. So those are interesting picks back there, but both of those guys falling a little bit here. I think both of them are in the 60s at this point in the ADPs.
Yeah,
I wanted to mention. Sorry, guys, real quick. So Kyler Murray went at pick 6. If Murray hadn't have gone there, and Team 1 didn't take a quarterback, I would have probably popped Lamar Jackson at pick 6.2. But now that Team 1 has a quarterback, I feel like I got a little bit more wiggle room, with all of my odd round picks now. So I felt like I'd just push it back a little bit further now, especially because I'm kind of getting the feel seeing Lamar going round 7, Herbert to 5, even though Mahomes got pushed up a little bit, and Allen. I think that we might be able to wait this one out just a little bit.
Yep, the only 6 quarterbacks taken right now. Again, interest. Here goes Burrow. He's the 7th quarterback. After by our buddy Eddie.
Yeah, so now I got to start. Go ahead. Sorry, Greg.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I got to start thinking about what Team 1's going to be looking at versus, needs now, and then trying to figure out, should I go an RB before a wide receiver? Do I need to go a wide receiver before an RB? So I'm kind of looking at my roster construction versus his, and kind of playing this little bit of a boxing matchup to sort of
Right.
kind of gain just a little bit of a ledge if there is a little bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say Dameon Pierce. He really moved up in the primetime drafts, and here he goes in the 7th round pick. What do we got? 74, 77. Dameon Pierce. Again, another guy who's looked good so far in preseason games.
And he got held out of the last preseason game, which is basically what you do with the starters. So that was huge for Dameon Pierce. He may be their week 1 starter at this point.
Right. He looked great in that first one, and I guess they had seen enough. Didn't want to get him hurt, which you don't do with rookies. Again, Dameon Pierce is a guy who wasn't even being drafted in the online championship up until a couple weeks ago. Or, I mean, he was drafted towards the end at the very least. But this guy is just rising up. He could be the rookie of the year. He definitely could be the rookie of the year.
I mean, that's where I was hoping Breece Hall was going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I was hoping he'd end up in Houston.
Or Buffalo.
I mean,
Buffalo would have been ideal for him.
I mean, yeah, Buffalo would have been great for Breece Hall.
Yeah.
But if he goes to Houston and gets 20 carries a game.
Kadarius Toney. Maddie here.
I was going to go with him over Hopkins, so I've got to feel good about that. It took me a little bit longer than I thought to make the selection. I just wanted to, dot my I's and cross my T's there just to make sure.
So team 1 takes 2 running backs right in front of you.
Yeah, and I actually I didn't know, but I figured or thought he was going to take at least one. Mm-hmm. And so I was scouring to see which running backs I would want to take ahead of him. But being that my best player on the board available was Kadarius Toney, I just stuck with that plan, especially with Hopkins currently being, situated as my top 6 pick. He goes down, Toney goes up. I've got them evaluated, close similarly. So now I'm going to get my second running back.
There you go. That's what I was hoping you were going to do, Maddie.
Targets. That's right. We're going on vacation, boys. We're going on vacation, boys.
I wanted you to take him in the last round because I thought team 1 was going to take him.
You know what we look like in swimming suits? You're going to take us with you on vacation? All right.
Man.
I haven't, but I'm going to guess that you guys have a little bit more body hair than I do.
I was just sitting here sweating that pick out for like 6 picks.
Yeah, I was going to go Pollard over Toney, but again, I was going to go Toney in the 6th. So I wanted to get my guy. And it just so happened worked out as we think. Or I
knew team 1 was taking running. I knew he was going with at least one running back there, and I thought for sure he was going to take Pollard.
Yeah. That's why I was mentioning too about I want to see what team 1 has versus my roster construction. But Kadarius Toney overall, plus you get the Tony Pollard for dessert. I like it.
Well, so what would have happened if team 1 had taken Pollard in front of you?
Yeah, that would have been a big bummer, and then I would have.
Edmonds would have been a nice plan B.
I would have, yeah. That's where I would have went is Edmonds. Yeah. I like the guys that are going to get the targets.
Pollard was a home run. That was a home run pick.
Yeah, I just his current role in general, right, and what's the landscape as of today versus what could potentially be the landscape come the money time, it's pretty large. It's pretty large, and I'm okay with even what most people are thinking, especially even if you look at the ADPs. So with OCs, you guys are pumping these things out at a ridiculous rate. So kudos to you guys. It's awesome, and everything has been going smoothly. Knocking on my desk here, which is solid wood. But now I'm only using, when I first start in July, I'll take about 2 weeks of data for ADP in the online championship. And then once we get to August, I start to take a week. And then now once the prime times kick off, I'm only taking about 2 or 3 days of this OC data. And there's still some substantial differences now that you guys are currently running the 3rd prime time right now. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So if you look at some of the ADP data, not that I need you guys to filter through all of it, Pollard has got a substantial difference in the prime time right now. So over the first 2, and so does Ezekiel Elliott. Both of them are getting a lot of love. Ezekiel Elliott's ADP in the prime time is 39 and Pollard's is 65. So both of them are getting pushed up around, I would say. in the prime time. And if you're not familiar with that, if you're watching this, I'm sure you are, but that's the $1,750 entry fee draft. So
yeah, and those first 2 drafts have had a lot of sharks in them too. They've been loaded with our veterans who feel they can get some advantages, and that's why you're seeing some of these guys being pushed up. So it's a good sign. Use those ADPs, I would say, for sure.
And to just say the third prime time is over, so there is new ADP data for the prime time available right now.
Let's run it.
playnffc.com/ADP.
They are free. They are free.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. We've been doing about 7 or 8 online championships a day. It's been crazy. The weekend was wild. So it's great. We have never had this many OCs in one day each day this early in the off season. And it is early yet. I mean, Labor Day weekend will be insane, but right now we are just pumping them out. It's been fantastic. So
that's awesome.
Okay, so everything's good. Again, guaranteed $250,000 grand prize here. We're in round 8 already. We're about 33 minutes into the draft already, and we're nearing the halfway point, which is fantastic. So we're seeing a lot of tight ends here, Tom. And again, I like the players that are taken right now, but there's a lot more blue on here than we usually see, I think.
Yeah, we're certainly already through, to me, the main tier guys that I would be interested in right now. At this point, if you don't have one, you might as well lay off the position. I mean, once Goddard's off the board, once this group of guys are off the board, if you don't have one, to me, you're streaming now.
Yeah.
You might as well
just some of those guys. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Ertz may be the one left, but I think at this point you're streaming tight ends now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and there goes Ertz right now.
Yeah.
So he's probably the last one, but to me, you're in the streaming tight end business now.
Yeah. Yep. Rashad Penny goes team 10 there in round 8. We'd be interested to see where him and Walker go. Some people say they don't want any part of that backfield, but someone's going to have to emerge. Someone's going to have to stay healthy to emerge. So we'll keep an eye on where Penny and Walker go. They usually go pretty close to each other. And there you go, right? There's Walker right there. So they do. They usually go pretty close to each other. I'm not quite sure who's going to emerge here. I actually thought Walker, if he stayed healthy, but then, of course, he gets hurt. We don't know if he's going to be ready for round 1. Miles Sanders at the end of round 8. What's that? Pick 96. Seems to be falling even more, Tom, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, and that's pretty much where he's been going in the prime time too. Yeah, because he's already hurt. I mean,
yeah.
I love Miles Sanders, but he's already hurt. So
yeah,
I mean, you just got to keep pushing him down now.
Yeah.
That or get Gainwell with him. I don't know.
Oh, hey, Boston Scott looked really good the other day. Yeah, was it yesterday?
And he always gets his cookies, right?
Yeah, he does. Boston Scott, just a good running back. He just is.
He gets in the end zone more than Sanders does, that's for sure.
Sure.
Interesting build by Team 12, just looking at him. Fading quarterback and fading tight end. Nothing wrong with that. But, I mean, he's got 5 running backs right now and 4 wide receivers with his first 9 picks. So a real interesting build there by Team 12. Team 11 did get Ertz, fading quarterback right now. So everyone's got one except for 2 and 3 in front of them. So there's still plenty of good quarterbacks left. So there's no problem there. But just kind of an interesting build by 11 and 12 there. Fun to keep an eye on there. I'm looking for our hookups here. Russell got a hookup there? I don't see. Lamar, Bateman and Lamar is a hookup there. Hurts.
AJ Brown, yeah.
AJ Brown. So there's a Hurts AJ Brown. So okay, so we're starting to see a little bit of that. The Murray one was not a hookup that I saw. Nope. So we'll look for that because it's always fun to see what kind of stacks they get between a quarterback and the wide receiver, sometimes quarterback and the running back, but or quarterback and the tight end, I should say. So
Maddie could be targeting Joe Flacco later, so we'll keep an eye on that.
If you want to know what I'm doing here, I'm sweating what Team 3 is going to do. If he doesn't take the quarterback I want, I don't have to take a quarterback, and I have a couple of wide receivers that I like. If he goes with the quarterback I like, then oh well, right? And then I'll take another. I'll take another wide receiver. But I'm hoping right here to take a quarterback or a wide receiver and then a quarterback. But hopefully the quarterback that I want is not selected by team 3.
You've been hanging around with Nelson too long. You got lots of yellow on your team here.
Yeah, and then you look over at team 11, Duke Viveros as well, Hall of Famer there. He's just plastering the place yellow. He cuts off the tier at tight end and goes right back to business painting things yellow. Right? He sees that he sees something drying up and sees that team 12 doesn't have that tight end as well. He goes, oh, I'll snip that in the bud and go right back to business.
Yep.
Fantastic player.
Yep. Duke has a lot of online championships, and he's got a lot of different combinations, and he'll always be our favorite because he led us to the Westgate in Las Vegas, and we love it. So what did team 3 do to you?
Nothing, because he already had my board's not uploading.
He took Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's not the quarterback I wanted. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties, but the quarterback I wanted was Trey Lance. So
there you go.
There we go. And I feel a little bit better with him. We were talking about correlations and having the quarterback wide receiver hookup. I think that the whole situation there in San Francisco is going to be just a lot more explosive and exciting. Big plays, so to speak, with Kittle and Ayuk and Debo. And now you have Trey Lance and his running ability. I just think that I'm not certain on a week-to-week basis. Is it going to be Debo getting a lot of targets and hooking up with Lance? Is it going to be George Kittle this week? Is it going to be Ayuk? Is Lance going to get it on the ground? Plus, which wide receiver does he hook up with, or Kittle, the tight end? So being that I didn't get Russell Wilson and I wasn't going to wait for Tua Tagovailoa or any quarterback for the Jets, I felt really, really good with the upside there with Trey Lance.
Yeah, Lance was QB8 in the first 2 prime times. He was going ahead of Prescott. No, I talked about him a little bit on our show this morning. But Trey Lance moving on up among the quarterbacks. He's the 10th quarterback taken here. Again, he was QB8 in the first 2 primetime drafts. So good value there. Team 1 is really banging the RB2 right now. I mean, he still has only 3 wide receivers. And along with Taylor there, an interesting build here as he's really hitting the running backs hard, while a lot of other teams are hitting the wide receivers hard. So now he takes Jalen Tolbert there.
I got lucky there. I made a mistake and picked round 9. I should have waited for my quarterback in round 10, but I couldn't pull up the board or even the draft room. My room froze there. So I'm back to business. I should have went with the wide receiver first. But that's okay because the 2 wide receivers I wanted are still there. So I've actually felt pretty good a few times, just kind of hoping that the guy I wanted is still there. And I'm going to take a shot there on Traylon Burks. Yeah.
Plenty of upside there. And let's hope that the preseason talk of every problem he's had with asthma or whatever is nothing major and he just explodes like we've seen before on other rookie wide receivers, right?
Yeah, they have inhalers with albuterol in it, and it works pretty good. So I think that plus a little bit of oxygen and what do we call that? Modern day medicine. I think he'll be all right.
There you go. Chris will give you a 4
He's made it this far, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Definitely.
Especially when you get some talks like that in preseason, like, oh, okay, he was breathing a little bit harder, like, and he does have asthma. Like, are we gonna push him today? Like, what day is it? Like, we don't need to do that. Come on.
All right. Tom Brady back in camp today.
Oh, yeah, baby.
But that's his second quarterback. So kind of interesting by team 4. He's got Herbert, and then he takes the second quarterback of Brady.
I think Duke and I picked a good league to be in.
Yeah, I don't think you needed to do that, but you got Evans. I guess this is the Evans Brady hookup if you want to go that route some weeks, but not taking Herbert, not having Herbert start 17 straight weeks would be a little bit interesting, I think. So, and there's George Pickens. Tom, he's been going around 113 in the prime time. This one looks like he's right around 113 again. Everyone loves what they're seeing in the preseason, but he still needs a quarterback, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you think Kenny Pickett's going to take over. Yeah. I think it happens sooner rather than later. I mean, Pickett's looked really good. Mitch Trubisky is who he is. So the question is, do the Steelers want to commit to Kenny Pickett right away? I think they should. I mean, there's I don't know what they have to gain by putting Mitch Trubisky out there. So might as well just play Kenny Pickett and hope that what we're seeing in the preseason carries over to the real games. And Pickett certainly looks really good. We know how good Deontay Johnson is. The question is, can Claypool get his head on straight? We'll see.
So Pacheco goes right after Pickens then. What did we see from this weekend, the second game? I actually didn't watch a whole lot. I saw he missed a couple of holes and such like that. Underwhelming or this weekend?
I mean, he didn't show a heck of a lot, but he was out there with the first unit again. So to me, he's going to be out there. He's going to play. He's going to be part of that rotation. And I think he's got a big chance to be a big factor there and take big snaps away from Edwards-Helaire. And to me, if I was targeting a running back in that backfield, it would be Isaiah Pacheco. It would not be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I think Pacheco's got a chance because I think they want to use him in passing situations. We know, we've talked about this. We know they don't want to use Edwards-Helaire in the passing game. They just have not committed to him at all as a receiving running back. So I think that's going to be Pacheco this season.
Yeah, Pacheco goes 3+ rounds after Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which is pretty interesting. So we'll see there. Another rookie is Jahan Dotson goes right after Pacheco. And then Dawson Knox is the 10th tight end. Team 9 and Team 12 still without a tight end. We'll see there. Team 11 within a second takes Matthew Stafford. So Duke is on that. Was hoping he'd come to him, it looks like. So again, we'll see if Team 12 or Team 10 takes a tight end or they'll just stream. Nope, not going to take one there. So keep an eye on that. It's not going to take one there either. Goes 2 wide receivers there. We're talking about how he was banging the backs. Now he's got 6 wide receivers and 5 running backs. Team 12 still fading the quarterback and the tight end. So interesting build by Team 12. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Team 10 with a tight end need, but like Tom said, maybe you just stream them at this point and get a couple in the next couple rounds and stream them this year.
To be honest with you, pick 123. If you don't have a tight end and it looks like they have quite a bit of ways to go for their next pick, I would certainly be smashing Cole Kmet here. Oh, and there it is.
Good call right there. Cole Kmet. Yeah, I don't know if I would wait all the way back on the tight end either. I mean, you're still going to stream Kmet probably, but I mean, Kmet could get an awful lot of catches. The field's dumping down, that's for sure. Don't know how many times he'll get in the end zone, but he could definitely get a lot of targets, let's say. Hopefully they turn into catches, but I'm not sold on that Bears team.
Ooh, that's bad. Can't do that. No.
2 QBs?
Yeah, so you spend what is that, 8th round draft capital on Russell Wilson, and then in the 11th you're following that up with Kirk Cousins. At this point, because we do have a free agent acquisition budget, so you have a waiver wire, so to speak, that runs prior to the season. If you have Russell Wilson or any of these guys in those first 2 tiers, I'm not selecting another quarterback. I'm simply writing that out. If their bye week is, let's say, so Russell Wilson's is in 9, there's simply no reason for you up until the week of, in case you want to have like COVID insurance, because they still have protocols and stuff. But we haven't even really seen that impact the league at the end of the last season. So for me, doing that and investing draft capital in the middle of your draft on the second quarterback with already having Russell Wilson is just a big no-no.
Tom, you agree with that?
Yeah, to me, you're drafting a top 10, top 12 quarterback. I'm not drafting my backup till much later because I'm expecting that guy to start every week but one, his bye week. So to me, there's no reason to be drafting. I understand the appeal of Kirk Cousins. He's a high upside QB too, but I'm not benching Russell Wilson. Otherwise, why are you drafting Russell Wilson?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm not sure when Cousins is going to play, and the same thing with the Brady pick. I'm not quite sure how often he's going to start for this fantasy team. But if you like insurance, some people buy life insurance when they're really young, so can't argue with them, I guess. But we'd roll the dice, I think, ourselves. So keep an eye on if anybody else does this. But right now, just 2 teams with 2 quarterbacks. one team without a quarterback. So maybe he thought some of these guys would fall to him. But, I mean, Rodgers is still out there. There's still other quarterbacks available. So, all right. Nico Collins, interesting by Team 5. He's the number 2 wide receiver right now. And this is a guy who does have some upside. He goes right MVS, which I'm not sure what upside MVS has. I think we know who MVS is. I'm not quite sure
Dropping
why everyone
balls.
thinks going to Kansas City is going to change anything. Run straight down the field, MVS, and catch it if we throw it to you. But that's just us Packer fans talking.
So I might. Oh, let me see here. Double check everything. All right, not this pick, but we're getting close to it, Tom. I'm gonna might get you a little excited here. Not this pick, but the next pick.
This pick didn't get him excited. Okay.
That pick didn't. I mean, I like Isaiah McKenzie, but no, that
round
pick
12. No, round 12. I could
Okay.
wait. I could wait for the pick that's going to get you excited, right?
I mean, got a lot of yellow on this team, man.
I'm going to get one more right now too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you were all worked up about Nelson doing this the last time you were live streaming with him.
Yeah, but then when I wanted to go wide receiver, he was wanting to go guys like Alexander Madison. Like, no, I just, yeah, we've got some differences still to work out over the first couple of years, but that's what makes, us working together a bit of fun, because like I've told you guys before, there aren't many people that want to even disagree with him. When he says something, they just sort of like, nod their head or whatever, shoulder shrug if they disagree. And it's like, no, fuck that. No. Let's debate here.
Oh, there goes our Romeo.
There's your guy, dude.
Yeah.
Is this who you're gonna take?
No.
Oh.
That's what I thought you were going to take.
No.
That
I do
might
want to
have
say
turned
that
Tom on.
I've bumped up. I was updating my rankings today, which you can find at ftnfantasy.com. Alan Lazard has risen up my rankings quite a bit, and this one's for you, Tom.
Oh, there you
Nice. That yeah, well done.
And now I'm
You
done
should
with
have
wide
taken him the
receiver.
round before.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were going to excite Tom, you should have taken him last round.
Right.
That is a nice pick.
Tom, what do you think about this Dobbs? I mean, that unzone catch, it was a beautiful throw by Love.
Yeah.
But
No.
that was an athletic catch. And I mean, this guy seems to get open. And it doesn't mean he catches them all the time. He's got some faults, and he doesn't run block very well. He's not a good blocker, and he didn't do it at Nevada, and that could keep him off the field. But he's got some upside. I think even Rodgers said today, this is a kid who can get open. So interesting.
No, he can play. He can make catches. He runs routes. He got good hands. Look, here's the thing. We know Sammy Watkins is going to get hurt because Sammy Watkins always gets hurt. And we know who Randall Cobb is at this point. Randall Cobb's not going to suddenly become the Randall Cobb of 5-6 years ago, right? So, and, people can think what they want of Alan Lazard, but he's not going to magically become Devontae Adams this season. Maybe he becomes a better player as their number one, but he's not going to become a superstar, right? So there's a big opportunity for somebody in this group, whether it's Romeo Doubs, whether it's Christian Watson, if he can get healthy. And Doubs looks the part. You watch him play, he looks like a big-time NFL wide receiver. So there's a big chance for him. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not magic what he's doing out there. He looks like a professional wide receiver making plays. So I have every reason to believe this can translate. If he's doing it with Jordan Love, there's every reason to think he can do it with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, definitely. I just read an article on him that he went to the combine and he got food poisoning. So that was why he lost 10 pounds, and he didn't run the 40 there, and they were wondering why he didn't run the 40, but he had food poisoning. And then he went to the Senior Bowl, and he still wasn't feeling good. He was unimpressive in the Senior Bowl. There was a lot of people saying he would have gone in the third round, but those two outings were bad. Then he ran a 4.5 40 at his pro day, which wasn't great, of course. So that's why he fell to the fourth round. But obviously the Packers had their eyes on him, and he looks athletic. I'll just say that. He looks athletic. And Tom, I will say, Love, that's the best we've seen him. He looked more comfortable, threw some really nice balls. There were a lot of drops in that game, 4 to 5 drops, but my goodness, keep him on the bench. Obviously, you're not going to want to play him, but I think they have something there.
Greg, I traded for him in my dynasty league this year.
You've come around. You've come around.
Look at you. What?
You've come around then.
No, somebody wanted Logan Thomas for him and gave me a draft pick in addition to it. And I was like, well, if that's the offer, I'm sure as hell going to do it.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah. So I'm in the Jordan Love business, believe it or not.
I like it. In a dynasty league, absolutely. All right. So
yeah,
we're seeing,
why not? I need a
seeing
quarterback
again more.
depth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's for dynasty. Absolutely. He's 23, for crying out loud. He's 23 years old. So,
all right.
So we are seeing more people take a backup quarterback here in round 12, which I'm a little bit surprised with. So,
and I wanted to mention that because if you're team 12 right now and you were gambling here, the gamble isn't paying off for you.
No, because 3 have gone since then. You didn't think anybody would go after that.
Yeah, I mean, so you clearly should have taken one at the start of round 11.
Yeah, the draft's not doing any favors for him now.
No, not right now. Well,
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Well, there you go.
Oh my God. This is so good for the business that I'm in. Look at Duke. Yeah, I'm about to do what Duke's doing now. We're gonna get into the green.
Yeah, now you gotta hit the greens pretty hard, I would say, definitely.
I mean, that's the best. He could have gone another direction, maybe other than Tua, maybe. But Lawrence was his best option there, and he obviously is going to have to be streaming. I would have taken somebody else besides Tua, but that's what he was forced into.
Yeah, I think he felt either Rodgers or Cousins would have came back to him, and you would think so. I mean, there's 4 teams with 2 quarterbacks already in round 12, which is interesting. And of course, Team 12 took 2 of them, but there were 4 before that who had 2 quarterbacks. I'm not sure I'd go that route. But so, like you say, Matty, Duke is doing the same thing as you. He's got Barkley. He's an injury risk, but he didn't back him up at all. He's got a second running back, and that's it. Then he went heavy on the wide receivers. You have an injury risk with McCaffrey. You didn't panic because you're drafting him, hoping he stays healthy. Hit the wide receivers hard. Now you throw a bunch of RB2 possibilities out, right?
Yep. And I like the quarterback that I have with Trey Lance. So you've got the bazooka arm with the rushing upside and the efficient offense there. And then the Kyle Pitts pick in round 4. So tier 1 tight end, potentially the number 1 overall tight end. And like you said, I'm currently focusing on nothing but the running back position.
Right. All right. Interesting. Team 12, while he had to take those 2 quarterbacks, still doesn't have a tight end then. So he's fading the tight end as well. So
greedy son of a
KJ
bitch.
Osborne, he might have been better off taking that quarterback instead of KJ Osborne, like you said. But whether it had been Cousins or Rodgers or Carr, that might have been the choice rather than KJ Osborne, who I don't know how many times he will play him.
And I think that speaks to wanting to be ahead of a run rather than getting caught at the end of one, which is what happened to him.
Yeah, when you're 23 picks away, you think you know what might come back, but it doesn't always come back that way. So, all right, Maddie, before you make your pick, let's tell people you are writing at ftnfantasy.com. You have your own rankings there. You guys have a cut line ranking system as well. Tell everybody how they can find good content at ftnfantasy.com.
Yeah, well, first, thank you guys. Always appreciate you guys having me on. It's a blast hanging out, just shooting the shit, talking fantasy football, and it's always fun hanging out in person as well. So always a good time. But you can find me on Twitter at _MattyWood_, and then all of my work is available at ftnfantasy.com. Have a podcast with Nelson Souza called the Primetime Fantasy Football Podcast. However, Nelson wasn't feeling good a little bit earlier in the week, and then his drafting has kind of gotten out of control. So we're shifting our schedules quite a bit to kind of maybe start going in the mornings or something like that. So we're in the process of mixing things up over there. I think he's done all 3 prime times that you guys have had already. So the guys all gas, no brakes. That's for sure. But all of our work is at ftnfantasy.com. So that's me, Nelson Souza, Jeff Ratcliffe, Vlad Sedler, Chris Meany, Adam Pfeiffer, Tyler Lochner. The list goes on and on and on. So a bunch of good dudes that produce great content. So that's where you can find all of our work at.
Absolutely. And these guys are putting their money where their mouth is. I
Yeah.
mean, they are playing games. They know what's going on. This isn't just, oh, this is who I think should be the 9th tight end. They know who the 9th tight end is going in these drafts and these money drafts. They're putting their money up and they're competing in NFFC and other high stakes events. So go to ftnfantasy.com. Great content there. A lot of draft results. And in season, they're going to give you fab advice as well. Right, Maddie? I mean, that's a big, big part. Fab is a big part of it, and you guys help them out.
Yeah, so get this. That's actually a really good plug, is because you're going to have there's a few things that are already just out of this world great. So you're going to have Vlad Sedler's weekly Fab article, which is awesome. He's going to break down each position and go through tiers and how much you should allocate per your budget. And then you're going to have Nelson, who does this very unique like journal. It's a Google sheet basically of a journal, and it goes position by position, and it's color coded, and it has an allotment of bid amounts, and then it has like you would write in an old school journal, a note next to the player as to why you would be bidding X amount within that range on that player. It's really fascinating and unique. So I really enjoy doing that. And then I kind of produce the boring old boomer stuff, which is the weekly stream. So looking at just that week, who would be, viable using the NFFC's threshold, whether it be from the primetime or the online championship. So looking at the quarterback, running back, tight end, and wide receiver position, along with defense/special teams, and finding which teams or players are available that given week, which matchups, etc., are going to be the most viable. So diving into that each and every week over at FTN Fantasy. A lot of stuff
Awesome.
for each and every week. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jump in there. Good podcasts as well. Great guys over there. We love them. So check it out. Tom, one thing I want to point out here, I was looking at round 9. Antonio Gibson goes before Brian Robinson, but not much before Brian Robinson. I did a chart today of their ADPs, and I mean, they're just going to overlap here pretty soon, with Robinson probably overtaking him. What's the scoop in Washington? I mean, Gibson was returning kickoffs, I think, in that second preseason game.
Yeah, I think Robinson's going to be the starter. I mean, he ran as a starter in their last game. Gibson worked as a receiving back, but that's because McKissick didn't play.
Yeah.
So I think the writing's on the wall for Antonio Gibson right now. I think Brian Robinson's going to be the starter, and we know how good J.D. McKissick is as a receiving running back. He's elite. He's really, really good in that role. I think Antonio Gibson's being phased out of that offense. And I think if Brian Robinson can handle the job, he is going to be their lead running back, with McKissick handling the majority of the receiving work and Gibson kind of spelling both guys. So I think it's just a matter of time here before Robinson takes over. So if you're getting him in the 9th round right now, I think you're getting value.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a player fall that far from first round. I mean, he was going in the first round. I remember Hansen took him 7th overall in his Beat John Hansen league that I live streamed last year, to go to the 9th round without having a debilitating injury, right? I mean, he's fallen because of his talent, is basically what it is. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody fall that far.
I saw a quote coming out of Washington, and the thought is he just has not improved the way they want him to improve. He's just not gotten any better. They thought he would be a much better player by now, and he's kind of stagnated, and they're frustrated by it. So they're looking in another direction right now.
Maddie, talk about your 2 running backs. Were those ones you were hoping for, or did some get sniped in front of you? There's a lot of upside here. Zamir White went to team 7. Tyree Rice with the Niners went to team 6. Tyler Algier with Atlanta. Those seem like nice upside ones if they could have fallen to you, but I'm not sure if you're on them or not.
Yeah, all 3 were actually in my queue, along with Raheem Mostert and Amir Abdullah. So I didn't have to go scrambling or anything like that, which was nice, being that I'm specifically looking at running back only in this spot. So now the team currently has 4 running backs with Christian McCaffrey, Tony Pollard, Raheem Mostert, and Amir Abdullah. Mostert and Abdullah are potentially in different scenarios, right? Mostert, though, going into being paid to go into a former system. He's got McDaniels there, and I think things could just gel pretty good overall. And then you've got Abdullah now with Kenyon Drake out of the way, and you've kind of seen people they've got their block of ice with Josh McDaniels, and they're picking at it, and they're trying to figure out who's going to be this role, who's going to be this role, who's going to be efficient this way, who does Josh McDaniels like. And after the cutting of Kenyon Drake, the writing's pretty much on the wall that Amir Abdullah is going to be their pass catching back. And if you look at his grades and how effective and efficient he was when he, playing last year, he's pretty damn good at catching the ball. He's actually elite in that regard. So I think Josh McDaniels, being a lot smarter than we are, has already realized that and is very confident in him. And I think that you're going to see him get targeted certainly the most out of all the running backs in Las Vegas. And I like the passing game there overall. But again, he's my RB4, and it's just a PPR dart throw.
Right. Interesting that Drake was cut today. What was the reasoning there, Tom? Any thought on that?
The new regime just wanted to go a different direction. They got the rookie White, and like Maddie was saying, they like Abdullah a lot, and obviously Jacob's still there for another year, so they feel like they're at least 3 deep with those guys, and Drake just didn't have a role. I would be shocked if the Cardinals weren't looking at Kenyon Drake to bring him back. Obviously, he was really good for them a couple of years ago, and they don't seem happy with what they've got behind James Conner right now. They're still searching for a number 2 behind him. Kenyon Drake back in Arizona makes a ton of sense to me.
That would take a little hit on Eno Benjamin as well. So I know that he's kind of going in this zone too. So I would kind of pump the brakes on him. I kind of had that in the back of my head as well, Tom, when looking at Eno Benjamin, because he kind of piqued my interest just a little bit as a target guy, but I don't think so.
He's kind of had a middling camp and a middling preseason, and they were kind of the vibes were hot on Darrell Williams before camp hit, but then they've kind of cooled off. Kenyon Drake just makes way too much sense to go back to Arizona. It just makes all the sense in the world.
All the sense in the world would be Will Fuller to the Packers, no?
Not with Romeo Doubs looking like he's looking.
Yeah.
No, come on. There's always room for Will Fuller.
You would think so, but I don't think so anymore. I think that
I don't think so anymore.
I think Goody is going with the young guys. I really do.
Okay.
And they still want to get Christian Watson up to speed.
Yep. He apparently had a good practice today. So I'm looking at Team 12. I don't even know who Team 12 is, but it's interesting. It's interesting that, he just waited on tight ends, and then 7 of them were gone, or 6 of them were gone right before his pick. So he goes Mac Jones, a third quarterback, and then Van Jefferson. And now another tight end went off the board. I know he's going to stream tight ends, but this guy has really rolled the dice tonight. And I'm not criticizing it. It's just an interesting build there.
The thing is, and we complimented Duke earlier. Okay, so we cut the crap here. It must be nice when you're drafting next to somebody that's just like, fuck it, I don't want tight end, I don't want quarterback, and then when I do want one of those positions, that's all I'm gonna take. So you can have whatever the fuck you want, Duke. It's
it is interesting for sure. He took Christian Washington, and Duke did that team pick 11 there as well. So interesting. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon. This is 20 rounds. We're in round 15. We'll get through 16 and then move on because kickers, tight ends and such. Maddie, what are you looking for your last 5 picks, your last actually 6 picks?
Another running back, and then I'm going to look to get into that defense/special teams tier. So I like to pay up for that top part. I don't want to mess with it and fab too much and allocate that kind of money or fiddle with it. So I was going to go with the Bills there, but they're gone. So I'm clicking on, let's see some of the top teams. You've got the Colts, Broncos, Buccaneers, any of those top tier teams. So wherever you get your defensive rankings or wherever you want to pull up your data. Interesting. So I'm probably going to go another running back, and then I actually might just correlate. So I don't have the 49ers as my second ranked defense, but being that Lance kind of runs and have some sort of a DFS mindset, I feel I normally you wouldn't correlate a defense/special teams with your quarterback, but I don't know. I feel like that could be something I look into, but I'm not going to go there yet because there's still some running backs that I need to look at, and there is the one that I want, and that's Dearness Johnson.
Oh, yes.
Yep. I mean, anything happens to Chubb, and with the question marks around Kareem Hunt,
Kareem Hunt could
he
get
could
traded,
potentially,
definitely.
yeah. So he could potentially just get fed if something did happen. Or what if Hunt does get traded and Chubb does stay there? I mean, there could still be some sort of volume there for him. And then I'm not going to get cute. I'm just going to take the best DST on the board, and that's the Colts instead of the 49ers. So, yeah. All right,
I'm
boys.
the same as you. I actually like to take a defense there too, and not have to stream them. A lot of people like to stream defenses and stay active in fab. I like to get a good one and just throw them out there every week. That's kind of my feeling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Maddie, we thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. Again, $250,000 grand prize. It's a $350 entry fee. $1,500 to first place in the league, $700 to second place in the league. We were running about 7 of these every day. So from noon to midnight, we have these babies. So check us out at
10 a.m.
NFFC.
tomorrow morning it starts.
10 a.m. Gee whiz.
We got
We've
Chris
been doing
Liss
those 10
drafting tomorrow
a.m.
morning.
Look at you boys.
Whose idea was them to start 10 a.m.? I
got people drafting
Liss is
overseas.
drafting tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Number 3, Liss.
Yeah.
Chris Liss. So good stuff. But
Awesome.
check them out 10 a.m. till midnight every day at playnffc.com. Again, it's the Rotowire Online Championship. Maddie, best of luck to you. Great seeing you last Monday in Milwaukee. Great seeing you tonight. Maybe we'll do one more before the start of the season. But if not, good luck to all your teams. And we love you, buddy. All right.
I thank you guys so much. You guys produce the best content. You guys are the greatest people. So much obliged. Thank you guys and have a good evening.
All right. Midwest love right here on the channel. Right.
Absolutely, baby.
All right. Thanks much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.